All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all kind, all over the nation, the world, everywhere you're tuning in from, welcome back to another GSD Spotlight. This one's going to be fantastic. I think a lot of you guys are going to resonate here, especially we're going to talk about like a beginning journey to where we are now. There's some cool stuff. I just want to start off here. I know that your partner Alvin isn't on here, but I remember vividly having a call with him where he was selling retainers for tacos, and we've come a long way from tacos as a currency to warm our tummies to actual money exchanging hands, and you guys are closing some fucking monster deals. So as you guys start to come on here, my man Ben is going to be tagging you guys. So hashtag live, hashtag replay. We'll repeat that a few times as we go through. If you hear any fire bombs, smash that heart button, smash that like button, drop your comments, your questions in the chat boxes. No matter where you see this, if it's on the replay, you'll probably see it on YouTube and even Instagram and some reels here and there. So look out for those after as well. Welcome, Mr. Jason Renno, to the GSD Student Spotlight, man. How you doing?
Excellent. Yourself. Excellent. Thank you. Just to clarify, the tacos just filled the gap. If our retainer was X, the gentleman's budget was X minus.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, well, there's a gap there. You guys have the best tacos in town. I've been eating at the restaurant for the last 15 years. So let's fill that gap with some free tacos.
Awesome. Okay. So there's money and tacos, even better.
Yeah, money and tacos. Yes. And they're still a client. They're great clients. And yeah, it's been going well so far.
That's awesome. So as you guys are tuning in case you guys just got in the group, you have no idea who we are. My name's Rahul, the guy with the beard below with beautiful haircut, and the record behind him is Cody. We run the GSD. We're a coaching consulting business that helps agencies, coaches, consultants.
That's the nicest thing this motherfucker's ever said about me. I guess we gotta have guests on here more. I was just like, beautiful haircut. Look at this guy down here, man. Compliment.
We got White Drake in the house, so he might bust out some rhymes pretty quickly. He lives right next door to him. He's upgraded his home. That's just kidding. Anyways, let's move the spotlight back over to Jason. Why don't you kind of give a little bit of a background of what you're up to right now?
What we are up to right now, that's a great question. I mean, just like I guess every marketing agency, we're up to trying to find the right clients. I mean, right now, Alvin and I, Alvin's my business partner. We've been partners for several years now, and starting to find with your guys' help, starting to find our messaging and our offer, fine tuning some things. So now it's just getting in front of the right clients and moving on from there, trying to, I guess, pitch the right people.
Yeah, exactly. Finding that blue ocean in the sea of red. And what's going to be interesting for you guys to even listen, and I want to kind of just highlight this for a second, is going from like those normal, typical can price retainers like the 500, the 1,000, the 1,500, the 2,000, etc., and thinking a little bit bigger, because there's a lot of problems that you guys solve when you have the right skills and the right critical thinking. Because these guys were going from that traditional type of models. Now, I mean, fuck, you've got some monsters in there, like 10K setups, 20K a month deals. I mean, even when we had that dinner together, I forgot what it was, like a setup fee, like 10 grand and 6 grand a month. I mean, these are like big ass deals that, I mean, a lot of other people are struggling on two fronts. Number one, giving their shit away for free is hard for people because people just don't believe it or trust it the way they're positioning it. And number two, the traditional model, it just blends into the rest of the world as a commodity, don't you say?
Absolutely, yes. And we definitely went through that entire path of the free giveaways, trying to figure out, $500 a month entry level. I mean, we've done it all over the last 3 to 5 years. I mean, everything from A to Z. And it wasn't until we were just like, okay, we now know our worth. Alvin's a genius when it comes to the YouTube and the Facebook ads and stuff. So now we've seen more success when we've literally quadrupled our prices. Closed a fewer clients probably, but it doesn't matter when you're charging 4 times as much. That and the clients are just more engaging. They're more willing to work with you. They give a shit about it more, I guess you can say, when they're paying that extra money. And as long as we're able to deliver, then there's no issues.
Yeah, like what was that moment in time where you guys decided to stop saying like $2,000 and start saying $20,000? Like how did your mindset shift?
It's a great question. I don't even know. I mean, a lot of it has to just do with listening. I mean, listening to you guys. I mean, you obviously are going to have that kind of smug attitude. And I think it was just almost acting as if it's like, hey, even before, our typical retainer, it's 10,000 up front, 10,000 set up, 5,000 a month without ad spend. It's just literally going into that first one, pretending like I already had 100 of them, signed up and paying me every month, and I didn't need that next one, and kind of pitching it that way. And, I guess you can say acting as if in the beginning, I think helped with those first couple, because you got to have confidence, I think, is the main thing. And that's probably what we lacked in the beginning, was that confidence barrier from saying, hey, I want $10,000 from you up front, and I want $5,000 a month. And I try to, think of myself as a good person. So I don't want to just take their money and run. I actually want to deliver 2 to 3 times, 5 times what they're giving me back. So once I think we had that confidence, that's what I think helped the most.
Yeah, because it's interesting, because like when I started closing like much bigger like monthly retainers and 𝗁𝗃 as well, it was that big jump. It was that first thing, and I just you have to first get mentally prepared for it and rehearse it a little bit, because to us, as a delivery of that information, it gets a little scary, because you're like, fuck, what if they say no? But then you have to kind of shut that voice off and say, I have massive value. I can get their pain solved. I can be more streamlined than every other person that has been in the price range they've been paying all along has gotten them, and get them further along faster. And all I have to do is change my swagger a little bit. But also, number 2 is just the vocabulary change, because there's been times pivoting in our minds when we're closing these retainers. We're going in, all right, this is probably going to be in and around 3 to 5K a month. And what comes out of our mouth is $10,000. Because now I don't want to get into like salesy stuff on how you kind of position, downsell, upsell, cross sell. But we all, like, one of my first mentors and bosses, and this is going back to 2003, he just said, like, treat offers almost like a haircut. If you cut too much off, it's hard to put it back on. But if you take a little snip and saying, all right, if we need to shave a little off, we can see what that looks like as a compromise and a collaboration with the client. So we want to kind of give them the lay of the land of what's available to them. And sometimes that just comes to a big number, but it also solves a much bigger problem, because when your price is up here, your value needs to be way up here. So the price starts to feel like it's going down a little bit. So it solves those gaps in their problem. And you guys have done a fantastic job, like, all along this way of this journey of going and constantly adding more value to more people. But one unique thing is, it seems like you guys have shifted your focus from people who like will bitch and cry about the $2,000 to finding a different audience that can actually pay for your products, so you have more mature conversations. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's obviously what we're, in the process of doing. It's definitely not a hitting the nail on the head type of process, unfortunately. Lots of swings and misses, but yeah, I mean, it's, for anybody else out there, I mean, we were doing so much local marketing in that local fashion, where people were, that's all they could do was the 500 to 1,000, maybe a couple $1,000s, a month for YouTube ads, things like that. But shifting into that, clientele where, one of our most recent, he's giving us 15,000, didn't even balk at the 10,000, set up 5,000 a month, and he's giving us 15,000 in ad spend just to test for the first 90 days. And doesn't think twice about it, pays his bill the second it's emailed to him, where other people I'm chasing down for the invoice and stuff. So it's, yes, that different mind shift, or that, working with that different clientele is a big difference.
Now, what about, like, can you hover on that for a second? Because, a lot of people out there wish they could land people who wouldn't balk at spending a $10,000 upfront fee and then the monthly recurring revenue, all that kind of stuff, right? Like, people love that kind of shit. So how did you come about getting them? Like, where do you currently go out and acquire those clients? And what do you think that the driving force behind them signing is right now?
Where I got them is, I mean, it's a variety of different options. I mean, we're doing everything from using our own end market data, running Facebook ads, to LinkedIn, to Facebook Messenger, to, everything in between. And I think the biggest factor is, once we're able to connect with them, I try to go out with the mindset of, like, if they don't work with me, they're fucked, because there's a ton of idiots out there right now. So yes, if they're not going to pay me 10,000, 5,000, they're just going to go get taken for $2,000 a month for the next 6 months and then come back. I mean, hopefully that doesn't happen, but chances are it's going to happen. And that's, I don't know if it was one of you guys that said it or somebody had mentioned it like that. It's like, well, what if they don't work with you? Then they're really screwed, right? At least you know what they're going to get when they're working with you. But there's a lot of people out there that are just going to take their money and run, or try to, undercut the market.
And how do you feel about like your business partner, Alvin, who shall remain faceless on here for reasons, right? But he is so good at just documenting shit all day long, right? I brag about this all the time as a student. Like, he's just, I'm going live, I'm doing Facebook, I'm doing YouTube ads, I'm doing this, it's getting this result. And it's just like endless content that he probably spends like 3 seconds a day on. But I guarantee I want to hear from you. Like, how much of an effect do you think that has on business? Like, does that bring in people who see that consistently and start conversations? Does that help with the potential clients who go on his profile and see that kind of stuff? Like, what kind of an effect has him just documenting his journey with all of this content kind of had?
I mean, you can't really, I mean, it's had a profound effect. It's a lot of our business. I mean, we don't spend much on Facebook ads. It's almost just a test and play around with it, because a lot of our business comes from just posting his posts, success stories or failures, or, everything in between, because that's what people want. People, don't want somebody that's going to, jump in and try to run their first Facebook ad. But when I can go in and when I'm on that initial Zoom call with the client, and I can go in and show multiple examples of our data, our ads, successes, failures, and everything in between, it makes a huge difference.
Love it.
Yeah, Alvin's got an interesting content model, and I love it. And I make fun of it, but in a positive way, because he'll just say anything. That's why Cody said it probably takes him 3 seconds. Like, he'll just literally say, thinking about doing it. Yeah, he'll be like, thinking about doing YouTube.
There's a few times I hit him on the Slack channel, like, you sure you want to leave that post up?
Yeah, he's like, ran 10 ads, all failed, running 10 more. Oh, 6 worked, 4 going off. Oh shit, they got a sale. Oh man.
You know what?
Like,
I saw something the other day online where your best marketer is just your best tester, right? I mean, if anybody can go into a new client, and I try to be honest with my clients up front when they go, oh, well, what type of results can I expect, and this and that. And it's just like, well, especially clients that don't have a proven offer, or, things of that nature. I'd be honest with them, and it's just like, I honestly have no idea. We're going to try to think with the end in mind and come up with a plan and goals and work to those goals. But at the end of the day, if anybody sits here as a marketing guy and goes, oh, I guarantee you're going to get 100 sales in the first 30 days, this and that, they're just lying to you to try to get your business. And they're going to do whatever they can to shortcut the process to get to that 100 sales, rather than provide, 75 quality leads. They're going to do something to get you those extra 25 so they look good or meet their quotas or whatever, when I'm more about ROI and, quality. After 60 days to 90 days working with us, I want to make sure if you're giving us X plus ad spend, you're getting at least 2 times that back, within your first, few months.
Yeah. And real quick pause. If you guys are here live, #live. And if you guys do happen to catch the replay, #replay. Now, I want to reverse back to something you just said before this, about like making offers to people and getting in front of them and having that confidence and swagger. Because if you guys are good in the audience, like Jason and Alvin are really good at what they do, think of it as a moral obligation from you guys. The less you make that DM, the less you avoid your content, the less you actually pick up the phone and call, whether it's cold or warm. Like, it's your obligation to get in front of them to be able to help them, because if they choose somebody else, guess what? Marketing is a dime a dozen. There's no barrier to entry. If I wasn't a marketer, I can snap my fingers and all of a sudden say I'm a marketer. That's how easy it is. It's self-titled, right? So make it your obligation to go out and talk to these people, because they're 9 out of 10 businesses fail. And if you're the person that can keep them in business, think about all the families you're supporting. So, I mean, I tell that to my team, don't be a little bitch and sit on the fucking sideline, get after it. If things aren't coming to us, you go make shit happen. We're not waiting on the sidelines. We're going to kick down doors. We're going to get warm leads. We're going to write content. We're going to do whatever it takes, because business is hard, but our job is to make it simpler, because we want the hard to get simple and then find a new hard to conquer, right? It's always going to have a new level, a new devil. Especially with the
fact of the matter is, nobody's shooting 100% and closing every deal. So, I mean, you got to get through those no's. So it's, put them in front of us as much as you can, as many as you can. And, hey, if we don't work for everybody for one reason or another, it's like Alvin and I started this our free Facebook group, and literally because it was just like for people that either can't afford us right now, don't like us right now, don't trust us right now, their fulfillment isn't in place right now for the influx of business. Like rather than just say, hey, call me in 6 months, we're just inviting them to the free Facebook group. Maybe they can add some value, learn something, and then, you know, work with us when it's ready. You know, go about it that way.
That's a huge way to keep the pipeline even warmer. So you don't have to rely on like just Go High Level or HubSpot or whatever CRM you're using, where you have to do text blasts, emails. You can just also put them into that little pool of a group. It's going to create a community where they can reach out to one another. But if you guys are the leaders dropping knowledge, a lot of people would rather just pay for the shortcut than constantly just fuck around on like free downloads or 2-hour YouTube videos or whatever the fuck it is, because like it's not a watch a video and it works. It's watch a video 10 to 20 to 30 fucking times before it lands in your brain, then watch the next step, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4. There's a lot of shit that goes on in having anything successful, right?
Yeah, and I told Alvin with our group, it's like he can have, you know, free reign to post all of his failures there. That's what it's for, is for people to learn. It's not to boast. So, you know, he won't get the old Slack message like, hey, can you take that down, pal? You know, in that group, post whatever you want.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, yeah. I mean, failures are probably secretly maybe even more important than the successes, because those are sometimes I've seen failures put people into a whole different stratosphere of life by either giving up, making the wrong decision, going in a whole new direction, and they do shit they hate. So yeah, learning from other people's mistakes is wildly important. I know Cody talks about that as well.
Nobody posts the failure campaigns that, you know, the 10 failure campaigns that led to the one successful one. They just boast about the one successful one, but you know, it's the guy who's going to, you know, suck it up and sit through the 9 failures to get to the 10th one, or the client that's going to work with us or work with the marketing company. And, you know, a lot of that just goes back to setting the right expectations with the client up front as well.
100%. So with failures, I'm going to share one right now. I'll share 5 in one sentence. I've lost 5 over $1 million retainers over my career. So I've learned a lot of lessons from it. First lesson was don't put your eggs all in one basket, because that was my first multi-million-dollar deal. My only client, poof, gone after, it was 3-year fucking run, which was great, but it was gone. And then I just almost like restart all over. But luckily I had the cold call experience of that tenacity to just kick down doors. So that kind of made the recovery a lot easier. Cause that could have definitely turned into poor me type attitude versus hop back on that high horse. Now, as it relates back to like before we started working together, like I know Alvin jumped into the GSD, you were kind of in the background as the partner that we hadn't even met yet. Like what did things look like when you guys like just first joined the GSD?
When I first started getting involved, I mean, we were probably on that bottom of that spectrum, you know, going after the, you know, $500 a month Google business, Google business optimization client, or, you know, $1,000 a month Facebook ads, that kind of stuff. And I don't think we hadn't been niched down whatsoever. I mean, we were just basically anybody. We were, you know, as you know, I like to say we're just kind of like the garbage men. You know, nobody else wants to work with us. Well, you know, go try to work with these guys because they'll pretty much work with everybody. So we did that route for a while. That didn't work. But I think with GSD, it was the confidence, the pitch, the offer. I remember it really got me. The first call we did, like the first thing we got on, Cody was like, give me your 30-second speech or 60-second speech. And I was kind of like, and I was just like, fuck, that's pretty bad. If I don't even have that, like, I can't even tell somebody what I do in 60 seconds or less, or I had to think about it to come up with it. So that kind of stuff opened my eyes, where it's just simplify, direct to the point with confidence. They either like it or love it or hate it, but either way, get to that answer as quickly as possible so you can either engage with them or, you know, move on to the next person that you can try to engage with and add value and, you know, solve their problem.
That's awesome. So we went from like the traditional like war, like it's like all that war in that price range, like 500, 1,000.
It's
everybody
fucking miserable. It's so miserable.
I
have so much gray hair.
Right. I got a gray chin for you. so thank you for that.
Mine's long. I for sure got gray in my beard too, man. It was a rough
going
couple
from
of years for sure.
like going from the $500, $1,000 to like where we are today, like the $20,000, the $10,000 setups, like has the sales cycle changed at all for you? Like the length, the pitches, the conversations, or is it very similar in nature? Like closing a $20,000 deal sometimes could be easier than that $1,000 one, right? Or maybe it's different for you.
The sales cycle is longer in a sense that I really try to take my time with it. You know, we had a Facebook lead come in last night. I had a 11 o'clock phone call with her today. But I really tried to talk as little as possible, because everybody's going to get on the phone call with you and say, hey, what are you offering, Jason? What are you offering? And it's just like, you know, kind of give them a timeout. It's like, well, before I even tell you what I offer, let me see if there's even a problem I can solve. And then I try to get them talking for at least 15 to 20 minutes. I try to shut up as much as possible and just ask questions and get the other person on the Zoom call or phone call to tell me as much as they possibly can about them, their business, their goals, their problems, whatever it is they can. Because even though I'm going to say pretty much similar to what I was going to say before I heard all of that, now I know exactly where to highlight, what problems to highlight, and where our data, our ads, our services can, you know, separate ourselves from whatever they're doing, rather than just going into it blindly and, you know, guessing where the problems are.
That's huge, man.
I like to talk. You know, anybody that knows me well knows I like to talk. So I think the biggest thing is, you know, shut up and listen for about 15 to 20 minutes and then start talking.
That is so important. Everybody out there in Facebook land who's listening to this right now, please listen to what he just said. The most important.
I mean, my initial phone call with the client is typically an hour. I try to do, and if it's a 10,000 a setup, $5,000 a month pitch, it's worth my freaking time. And at worst case, I get them in the free group. We build a connection, and you know, they might need us down the road, but at least it establishes that trust. I give them my time. They don't feel just another number being pushed through the system. You know, so yes, it's shut up and listen. The biggest thing.
Listen. You'd be amazed at what your prospects will give away to you. They will tell you the reason they're on the call. In other words, the way that you can get them to be actually sold if you just shut up and listen.
Or better yet, take it one step further and listen to actually listen and hear what they say, not just don't just listen until they're done just so you can reply. Like I messed that up a little bit, but I think you guys know what I mean. It's most people just sit there and just, okay, as soon as that guy's done talking, I'm going to say what I want to say, regardless of what they said. When if you just listen to what they say, most people will sell themselves or give you a good opening to sell them on something or solve a problem, for lack of a better term, if you just shut up and listen and actually hear what they say.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be in the moment, in the conversation, not focused on what is your next question you're trying to spit out of your mouth, because then in your mind, you're thinking, what's my next question? But then you missed important information, and that's where your sales are typically made, because if you're shoving product down somebody's throat, they're not buyers. They're not going to be able to differentiate you from anybody else, because then you're just all about price. But if you kind of listen, ask intelligent questions, then you're going to be able to solve a bigger problem that they may not even know they even had. Because we've had people come in and think we're like, I don't know why, they think we place graphic designers. And if you ask questions like, hey, no, let's just say you had the graphic designer placed. Now, what kind of bottlenecks do you think you'd be looking to solve for then? So now we're moving into a different category of what the pain is, where are they trying to grow, what future has for them, because they didn't think about that. There was a lot of people are thinking like I need coffee right now, and that solves my whole entire fucking month or day or whatever they're trying to do. But we need to think beyond that. What's going to give us a long-term solution for people's businesses? And that's where the questions come in. And just think like how you go to the doctor's office. The nurse does the basic like information. The doctor will ask very detailed questions.
What do you think for the people out there, right? That this transition you went through, what really was the biggest fix? Like what was besides the mindset and the confidence, because that's one thing, but like what was the biggest shift for you to actually start going after these higher ticket things? Like you guys have made a lot of progress in the last year alone, just from us working with you and just seeing you guys kind of build and do all this stuff. If you had to pick like one or two things that really catapulted you, that really took you to that next level, what do you think those would be?
obviously the right audience. And I think it's, I mean, just getting down to solving problems, you know, where it's not a commodity. It's not Raul was just saying, it's not a plug-in and a quick fix, where we want to get in and learn about the businesses, learn about the problems they have, figure out, you know, whether it's short-term or long-term solutions that will keep us in play and keep us involved with the businesses, you know, for a long period of time.
Now, remember the last call that you were actually on with me, you, and Alvin and Rahul all at the same time. And I emphasized one particular thing. You remember what that was?
Not off the top of my head, no.
It was say no. The whole conversation.
That's
learn how to start saying no, because you guys are just like post content, do things, and I love it. And that's, I mean, look, we're all about get shit done, right? But literally, I think we spent like a half an hour where my main core point, I just kept going back to it, was learn to say no.
Well, that's what I meant by stop being the garbage man, because that's what it was, just like, oh well, God, you know, it's an extra $500 a month, but then what we had to wrap our head around is, yes, it's $500 a month, but it's preventing us from getting that $5,000 a month client that's going to take up a similar amount of time, if not sometimes less time, because they're so easy to work with, and have more realistic expectations.
And I mean, that alone is something that so many people struggle with. It's like, I want to say yes to that. But you just encapsulated it perfectly. That's $500 I wouldn't have if I don't do it. But you could go
especially starting off that first 12 months, it's very tough to say no to anybody. I mean, and it's tough enough where I didn't do it. I literally said yes to everybody the first 12 months. So anybody that doesn't have the ability to say no, don't feel bad. It's an acquired it's an acquired taste.
Every single person who starts in this business starts as a yes man in two ways. One, they'll take on any client that comes their way and they'll just figure it out. And that's usually how you guys get really good at the beginning, because you're doing so many different industries. But it doesn't allow you to master it. It doesn't allow you to really go out there and master that niche. And then two, it causes you to be stretched too thin. Like when a client comes to you and asks you, hey, you do Facebook, want to do Google now, want to do YouTube now? Hey, I know you're doing it for my barber shop, but I also run a mechanic bay down the road. You want to do it for those too, right? And you're just constantly stretching yourself thin for peanuts. And what you guys have learned to do, and what the focus of that call was, I just clearly remember, just all I said was start saying no, man, because I know you want that money, but there's bigger money over here if you just perfect that and push down. And so, all right, Rahul, you're back. You froze in HD in the middle of a monologue. Did you have a finishing touch to that speech?
No, I don't remember the speech. My power went out. We have like a heat wave out here in California. Jason probably knows what it's all about. Yeah. It just whipped out. It's been intermittent through the day. I'm going to let you two continue a little bit, just because I have a feeling it's going to happen again. We're having like rolling blackouts here.
Cool. So, I mean, besides that, which was, I mean, I'm going to call it right now. Everybody out there, give me a hashtag, the power of no, because I promise you a lot of you guys are making that same mistake. So drop that down here. But besides that, like, and I know Rahul kind of touched on this earlier, but for anybody who's out there on the sidelines, you know, they all watching us and all this kind of stuff that are considering working with the GSD, but might not know any better, like, what would you say to a group of people like that? What would be your advice for them?
My advice would be give it a shot. I'm super skeptical. Like I said, I'm super skeptical about any type of coaching, or just because, you know, I think I know everything. Okay, Alvin had engaged with you, I think, for a while before I had jumped in. Then he's like, oh, just come in and jump in the calls. But now, I mean, I try to jump in some of the calls. If not, I watch them within the Facebook groups and stuff. But I like how it's just like no frills, no bullshit. It's just black and white. And here's what works, here's what doesn't work, here's what's worked for us in the past, here's what hasn't worked. And I don't know, it's just kind of like no bullshit. You're not trying to be something that you're not, or trying to, even like your success stories. Sometimes it's like you'll post a success story where it's like, oh, client gets $1,000 in, you know, a month routine or whatever. It's not like, you don't add an extra zero on it to make your group look better. It's just like, yeah, freaking $1,000 a month. The client, you know, our client's just starting off. It's the first win. It's a client in her niche. It's a freaking home run. Who cares if it's 1,000 or 100,000? It's our first step in the process, and it might not look sexy to other people, but it's real. And that, my guys, I like your guys' kind of just attitude or approach to things. You know, it's like, fuck it. You know, you don't want to work with me, hang up the phone and move on to the next one. And, you know, I'm going to find somebody else that is, you know, Raul stories about just picking up the phone and dialing for dollars and all that kind of stuff. It's what I used to do in the mortgage business and never really did in the digital marketing business, but kind of getting back to it with, guerrilla warfare tactics, with having my VA come up with a list of addiction treatment centers and start cold calling them myself, or more LinkedIn outreach, more Facebook Messenger, just trying to be as aggressive as possible with their outreach, getting in front of the right clients.
Love it. What do you think the most valuable piece of the training has been for you guys?
I mean, honestly, I like the group calls. I mean, if I don't jump on the Zoom call, I'll listen to them in Facebook while I'm working, and I love the interaction. Ben's good with all his advice. I mean, you can't listen to a call without coming down with, it's not, one call is not going to change your life or your business, but you can definitely grab a couple nuggets. So the next time you're on your phone call, or the next time you're giving your elevator pitch to, somebody else, you're not caught off guard and you know what to say, or, have some good ideas. There's a lot to learn and, from the groups.
Yeah, love it. So, Rahul's taking a deep breath and leaning in.
that was my cue. Yeah, it goes back to repetition is the mother of success. Just because you hear it once doesn't mean you can repeat it. You have to do it over and over and over again for it to land. Look how long it took, kids in school to learn their ABCs, right? Now, when you're getting into business and you're learning sales skills, persuasion skills, how to run the ads, how to hire a VA, you're going to fail and bump along the way from time to time. It's just how you're going to recover. And if you're going to be ego free and get help, or if you're going to be the person that just kind of bangs on YouTube and it may take a little bit longer. Now, we're biased towards getting help just because we're buyers ourselves. We invest heavily into Cody's brain, my brain. You guys invested heavily into your business with us. But then the result just comes so much more fucking faster. But the secret part of this is two parts, I think, is beyond just the knowledge, just beyond buying our mistakes and what actually works in today's market, is really number one, community is what I love. I was going to say the role
playing, Ben's calls doing, I haven't been on recently, but in the beginning or several months ago, getting on and doing the role play and practice the pitches and the offers and stuff with him and you guys helped a ton. Rather than trying to just find somebody to do it with, having you guys there in the groups and everybody critiquing was a huge help.
Yeah, the community is great from our coaches, but also the people inside of the group helping one another, cheering each other on with that encouragement, because we don't always get that at home, because your wife may not really understand why you're working so hard all the time, right? But this community does definitely know. But then number two is the accountability, is to just basically be able to openly kick people's asses a little bit, to push them a little bit further and think much bigger than what they may be thinking what's in front of them. Everything's sort of customized based on anybody's customer journey. If you're a brand new agency, we're not going to treat you like you've been doing this for 10 years. There's a lot to learn in that pocket of information. If you're further along, some people are at 6 figures a month already. Those people have different problems. Typically, it might be SOPs, streamlining, scaling, hiring, etc. So there's a different devil at new levels. And we focus really bespoke to each individual in a community that really goes on every single fucking day, Saturdays included.
Yeah, so, when you post your question, I always look at the comments and stuff, you'll post your questions hey, who are you guys using for merchant services? And, all of a sudden there's 37 comments and stuff. And, you get some different ideas, or maybe you use them, maybe you don't, but it's just, rather than Googling, hey, who's the best merchant service? Those comments are probably more reliable because it's actually people, in the shit of things and using the services and trial and error and whatnot. Those type of referrals and that type of things in the community are better than a Google search or, that kind of stuff. You can pretty much find anything you want or referral for anything you want within that group.
100%. So if anybody out there is watching and feels like they're a little bit lonely or they're a little bit stuck, drop a hashtag GSD. We'll go ahead and reach out to you and show you what it is. Only if you guys are ready for it or open to it. You can learn about us. If you want a video of our demo, just do hashtag demo. We'll shoot it over to you on the DM. You can take a look. There'll be an opportunity to book a call on that page as well, so you can see what this thriving community is all about. We believe highly on rising tides, lifting all boats, and we do everything together in a collaborative like safe, fun environment. Like we don't fuck around. The name of the program is GSD for a reason. Do you guys know what that stands for? I'll let you guys say it. I know Cody does.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody knows what it stands for. You want me to say it? Get shit done?
Yeah. Yeah. So give me a hashtag.
It would be anticlimactic if I had to say it. So I figured we.
I mean, you're wearing a T-shirt, so hopefully.
But that's what I like about the group is because it's literally, it's not, look. It's literally get shit done. It's black and white, and I think it breaks it down to the most simplest form of here's what you need to succeed, and here's what you don't. And, we've cut out all the gray area for you, and we can make it black and white, or you two guys.
Awesome. Well, man, thanks for hopping on. I know that you taken a lot of time out of your day. I know you had to maybe not even take appointments during this hour. So I appreciate your time hopping on, sharing with the group. Fun. Yeah, sharing with the group like your experiences. I mean, you're in Southern California. We met up a couple weeks ago, so we'll have to do it again. I'll have to get you a GSD T-shirt, and Cody, don't get jealous, but I got
there's me, you, and Alvin at a table for 12. Anybody else that's in Southern California has got to come join us.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys want to do a GSD meetup, maybe we make that happen. Maybe we'll keep it for GSD members, and maybe if some outliers, if you guys are around. And when I say outliers, I mean not in the GSD. If you guys are in Southern California, maybe we can coordinate a meetup. And plus, we're going to be having a live event at some point this year. Cody and I have been discussing it. We're deciding maybe we'll put a poll. I'm thinking Canada of all people, even though I don't want to fucking go. I thought it was a good idea. Cody's assumption was it's going to be in your backyard because you love your city. I haven't left in a long time. I'm a bubble in the city of Westlake. So we'll be working on that stuff too. But in all honesty, man, I really appreciate you. You and Alvin are fucking killers. I love seeing you guys show up, share your wins. It's encouraging for everybody in the whole entire group. And especially like I encourage everybody out there, think bigger. And you have to look at it from a perspective above yourself, because if you're not looking at it from the 30,000 feet, 10,000 feet from the mountaintops, or at least at minimum the trees, you're leaving a lot of opportunity on the table, because a small little tweak in what you're doing can explode the direction of your life, your business. Because if you're going from 0 right now, or 5,000 or 10,000, congratulations, but there's $100,000 out there if you think a little bit bigger and think a little bit different. And sometimes it takes a little bit of investment on your side to bet on yourself, just like you ask customers for money. Maybe do the same investment strategy they're doing with you. With that being said, thanks guys. If you guys like this one, hashtag Renno, RENNO, give Jason some love. Thanks for sticking with us on the live. I have a bunch of you guys out here.
Appreciate you guys. See everybody soon.
Thanks, Jason. Bye guys.
Good to see you, Cody.
You too.